Hello everyone, and welcome back to our flower of the month, which is the tulip. So following on from our last video where we gave you an introduction on tulips, we're now going to explore some of the different varieties that are available. So today we have the single tulip, which is probably the most common. It is available in all colours of the rainbow. Tulips in general are considered a spring flower, but the standard variety, which is this one, the single one, is actually available all year round. The peak, I would say, is from January to Mother's Day, and these are all imported from Holland. The Netherlands are the largest grower of tulips. In 2017 they exported 2 billion tulip bulbs. That's the biggest exported bulb, second only to the lily. So 2 billion, can you just imagine how many bulbs that is? So yes, a very, very popular flower is our flower of the month, the tulip. So this, as I say, this is the single tulip, the most common. I mentioned earlier it's available in all colours of the rainbow. You can see we've got the yellow here. This pink particular variety is called First Class. Very popular, good shelf life. Next, I'm going to show you a few ribbons actually, so you can see basically how the colour schemes work so well together. Every possible shade of pink you can get in tulips. Next we move on to the frill. So this is quite a unique tulip really. It's got beautiful petals, almost looks as if it's got little tiny icicles on the edge. Available in quite a wide range of colours. I would say it's probably slightly more delicate in its appearance, although it does have a very similar shelf life to the single variety. This particular variety is called Smirnoff. And you can see again how, although I've got white and I've got cream ribbon here, it kind of blends in the middle really, more of an ivory tone. So that's our Smirnoff. Next we have the double tulip. This particular variety is called Pissarro. The double have an extra row of tulips compared to the single, so as you can see they're sort of multi-petaled, quite blousy I suppose in their appearance. They're really popular this year, more so than any other years, and more nurseries are now growing the double tulip. Very popular. I think because flowers like peonies and the big blousy roses have become so in vogue, anything that is multi-petaled and can give that kind of appearance is incredibly popular. Next I'm going to move on to the parrot. Now parrot tulip kind of gets its name because the petal almost looks like a parrot feather. Perhaps that's just me. But these are the parrot tulips. They're quite an interesting tulip. They are available in a whole range of colours. This particular one is called Rococo. They are quite difficult to grow, these ones, because they're quite sensitive to disease. The Dutch growers, when they're cultivating the tulips, have actually now started to grow the majority of tulips in water as opposed to sand, because there's less possibilities of disease in water. All of the nurseries in Holland are actually obliged to collect water and reuse, so it's very ecological. So next we move on to the French tulips. Now the French tulips are really sought after excuse me, for their height and their beautifully strong stems. They have usually a stem length of around about 24 inches. And the blooms can actually be, believe it or not, almost the size of a coffee cup. I'll show you that in one moment. This particular variety is Menton. You might have seen that used in our live stream last Friday. Okay, and again that works really well with your peachy corally tones. There's a ribbon there to show. Now, as I explained with the French tulips, they do open up to a massive head size. So I'm going to be slightly cruel now and force this French tulip open just so you can see what I mean by the head size. So I'm just gently bending back the petals against my thumb. and they do take on a completely different image, look like almost a different flower completely to your standard tulip. So this is the French tulip. So you can see what I mean about the head size, literally almost the size of your hand when it's fully opened. So now we're going to move on to dyed tulips. They're kind of a little bit of a Marmite flower really. You either love them or you hate them. I've only really seen dyed tulips available for sale the last couple of 3 years, but they are experimenting a little bit more in the different varieties of tulips now. So this is actually a parrot tulip that's been dyed. So you can see what an incredible array of colours that has. If you match that in with some pinks and perhaps some ivory here, you can see you get almost, I guess you'd almost call it a dusky kind of romantic feel, maybe almost bohemian for the dyed ones. So yeah, that's your dyed tulips. Let us know what you think about those. So there are tulips, one of the most popular spring flowers that we get. They do give much joy. They do bend to the light, as we explained before, so they're quite interesting to watch how they develop once they're in water. So thank you very much for watching us today. I hope you've enjoyed our little tutorial, and I hope it's given you a little bit of food for thought, and more importantly, a little bit more information on the tulips that we sell. So watch out for some more videos that are coming up in the next few weeks. And until I see you again next time, thank you for joining us.